I look so scared.
Do it.
Hi, guys.
No, do it again.
Hi, guys.
One more time. No, with like confidence. Hi, guys. Uh-huh. Okay.
Welcome back to Conversations from the Couch. My name is Maya Brenner, and I'm here with my good friend Jessa, and you're watching Conversations from the Couch. Before we get started, please remember to like and subscribe by hitting the notifications,
Hitting the subscribe
hitting
button.
the subscribe button,
And ring that bell.
ringing that bell.
By hitting the notifications so you know every time that she posts a new video, you get notified.
Yes.
And make sure to give this video a like before we get started.
Yes.
You want to try it?
No.
Okay.
Thank you. Welcome to Conversation from the Couch. I am Maya Brenner, and this is Jessa Cerubica.
Hello.
Couch Model started because I needed a creative outlet to kind of make me feel like a whole person, and so I've spent this last year asking everybody what their couch model was. And Jessa, you have been somebody in my life who has always had something creative. We met when we were 14, and we met in a creative environment. We went to high school together at a Waldorf school where the curriculum was always part writing and part art, and we would do our homework together always. And you were always working and I was always not, and I wanted to sit down with you because I think that you are incredibly special in the sense that you are just constant optimist, and I think that as someone who's found some success in your career, and that is also a creative, I am interested to know how you balance your anxiety in both finding your creative outlet as your relief and also as your success. And I just am wanting to talk to you about that. So I would say, what is your couch model?
Okay. So I think that's like a couple part thing. So one of my couch models, and one of my biggest things, if anybody knows me, and you probably know this about me from the beginning of time, is I love coffee time in the morning, and I love coffee. I love collecting the mugs to drink coffee in. I like the ritual of getting up early in the morning, making my coffee before everybody. Like, I bring my coffee cup, usually if I'm home alone, like I bring my coffee cup into my room, and that's like always how I start my day. And I even love the ritual of like picking out which cup I'm gonna have, like, and each cup has like a different sort of significance or something that I start my day with. But it's always, I find like if you can look forward to your cup of coffee in the morning, then you can look forward to every day. And so that's something for me that at first became something just because I was always tired and was a workaholic. But then when I was in high school, but then sort of developed over time as something that has been really special to me. And it also like represents a time when I lived with my mom, where every morning we'd get up and have coffee with me, my mom, my grandmother, and then it became sort of my whole family. And now like me and my boyfriend get up, and even though he doesn't drink a lot of coffee, I actually bought him a miniature mug.
Cute.
So like I'll literally pour like a tiny little drop of coffee in his miniature mug, because I just love, like, I love that ritual, and I get really excited every morning to have my cup of coffee, and it's something that always like starts my day on a positive note. And I find that like when you can find joy in like the small things, it really sets the tone for the big things.
That's really special.
Yeah.
And then you said it's multiple parts, so what's the next part?
So I would say, so along with coffee, I'm big into sort of like, I love rituals, something that like, I didn't used to like. I never used to like routine as a kid. I liked being unpredictable and not having a schedule, and which just lends itself very well to a creative career, which I've had pretty much my whole life. And but the things that I was very ritualized about were like the coffee, and then I journal while I'm drinking the coffee. And I find that journaling has been one of the number one things that has reduced my stress and anxiety and self-doubt more than anything. And I'm not talking about like journaling in like the sense where you're like, sometimes it's like writing down your thoughts, but more than that, it's like having a conversation with yourself. So a lot of the times in the morning, I think we as humans, especially in this like feel good, positive, say always we're happy kind of, self-help place that we're at, which I'm so happy about, this like revelation that's like taken over our culture of like really mindfulness and being like aware of your thoughts and like how they have an effect on your body. But I think, sometimes we're just humans and we wake up sad and we wake up mad and we wake up anxious and we don't really know why per se. Like sometimes it's obvious, there's like a big meeting or something that I was going to say an exam. Haven't had one of those in like 12 years. I don't know if
something
that's
specific.
Yeah. But most of the time it's just you wake up and some days you're like, I hate everybody. And other days you're like, oh my gosh, the world is beautiful. I love pillows and and sunbeams and I think that we have to start having like an effect on how we want our mind, what kind of role we want our mind to play in those things. And a lot of the time I find by like writing down your thoughts, you'll get to something like, you'll hit on something like, this offended me from yesterday and I couldn't let it go. And you don't even realize that something has bothered you for a day. And then you ask yourself like, what is it about that comment that bothered you? And you're like, oh, because when I was younger, this thing happened. So I'm actually just getting triggered by something when I was younger. So it has nothing to do with that actual event. And then I'll go back and like, why is this still something that bothers me? Oh, this goes back to like sort of a core thing where like, I felt like I wasn't enough in that moment. And then I'll be like, I'll self-soothe and be like, but that's your perception of that moment, but you are enough and you are loved and you are safe. And I feel like that way of like self-soothing and healing is something that I'm so grateful that I learned totally by accident. And it's been a huge, huge help in me keeping a level head amongst high pressured situations and a very high pressured job. And I think especially when life gets a little wonky and you're not feeling yourself, it's really good to have these ways to like check in. So
how did you go from not liking the ritual to liking the ritual?
Because I realized the ritual sets you free to some degree. Like I've always been kind of disciplined in that like, and you know me from high school, a little bit, dare I say neurotic about my work. And I've been a professional writer and director and producer, and the first big job I had was writing, and so I had to be very disciplined about handing in things and making deadlines. So like there was some bit of ritual within that, but definitely not something like every morning I do this.
Yeah.
And I'm definitely not every single morning up writing in a journal, for sure. There's mornings where I just like get up and I have to go. But most mornings, like I found that it sort of, the combination of waking up first, meditating, even if it's for like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and then I set an intention for the day, and it can be anything, and usually it's things that make me laugh. Like I think people think intentions are like, today I will be a beacon of love. To me, it's like, today I want to laugh so hard that I fart. Or today when a stressful situation comes up, I'm going to sing a song from Mary Poppins. And I just like make these silly intentions, but they bring me joy. And then when inevitably you have a stressful situation in your life, you reflect back on that intention, and then you use those tools.
Yeah.
And then I go make myself get happy about my mugs, make myself coffee, go to do the journaling. And I find like I have so much, my attitude and things like that are so much better, and I feel better. And when like situations where you like allow sort of anxiety or self-doubt to creep in, having those things to fall back on, those tools, it allows you to move quicker past them, or to let them go, to let them like slide over you.
Do you think that like with social media and like the draws of checking your phone and emails and Instagram and stuff like that, being motivated or disciplined to do those rituals of journaling and productive in your work are a lot harder now?
Oh yeah, for sure. Like, I think there's a lot of time where sometimes I would just love to be left alone in a room and just stare at my phone for 5 hours, because there's a sense of like relaxation in that. But I definitely discipline myself in not doing that, and I definitely think it is a discipline. Me and my boyfriend, we spend Sundays, not every Sunday, but most Sundays, we turn off our phones for 24 hours. And it's amazing how addicted you are to your screen. I know everybody says that, it's so cliche, but really just taking your phone and putting it in a drawer for 24 hours, you realize like how often during the day you have moments of boredom, that the second the moment of boredom hits you, you want to reach for the phone. You want like that instant satisfaction, but by not reaching for it, you find actually silence and peace, and you're like, whoa, your whole brain, your body exhales, and you're actually able to keep a straight thought. And you're able to like kind of move from an activity into another activity, and like keep sort of a deeper, you deepen into like the moment that you're in, as opposed to trying to jump out of it. And I think that's a real discipline. Like, I'd love to wake up in the morning and just scroll through Instagram, and it is something where I have to like put my phone down, make sure that I get to these things, because otherwise I feel like it's been proven in some write-up that the second you check your screen, if that's the first thing you see, it actually automatically puts you in a state of thinking that you're behind. I don't know what the science is on that, but it makes you feel like you're running behind schedule. And so you're seeing all these things, and suddenly you're feeling like an anxiousness that you didn't know. And I've like read these random articles about it, and I don't know enough, so look that up. Who knows what I'm quoting? But I think it's true. I think mornings where I begin by like drinking coffee, making my boyfriend get back in bed and snuggle with me, also part of my morning ritual. You feel better coming into your day, for sure.
Well, I like the idea of like where social media started and like the connecting of it, because if you look at it as this letter, or like this letter of connecting with your loved ones, and like, here are the highlights of my life, it is so special, you know. And what it then became, it and the way in which we are connecting, it is kind of ugly. But if you like this idea of like, this is what I did this weekend, it's so nice.
I think that there's beauty in social media. Like, don't get me wrong. I actually, I think it was 2 or 3 months ago, I like Marie Kondo'd my social media. So basically, if your account didn't bring me joy, you got eliminated instantly. And it could be nothing personal. Like, you could be somebody that I work with, but when I see your posts, they don't really make me happy, I stop following you. So everything actually, when I look at my screen, is like, you're the best. Go get him today, Jessa. Pow, pow, win, win. Or like cute dogs and cats, and like everything on my social media I made geared towards making me feel good. Because why? Even you don't owe people an explanation for why they don't bring you joy.
Sure. That's
like a huge lesson that I had to learn. It's like, you don't owe people why they don't bring you joy. They can be lovely enough. They just don't make you smile. So I don't need to follow them. We can be friends in real life, but I don't need to follow your account.
It is interesting how people like filter their life and like what their life actually is. Okay, back to couch modeling. So you you are a writer, director, producer, all of those beautiful talents. Do you find anxiety in that creative world, and how do you continue to create when, like, how do you continue to find joy in creating when that can how do you continue to create when that can continue to bring anxiety? Does it, you know?
So I think actually it is a strange thing. How do I put this? I love what I do, and I don't always like the people, but I love what I do. Like, I mean that in a way of like, I think it's not the thing that I do that brings me stress. It's the people that are sometimes involved with the thing that I'm doing that bring me stress. Like, they're the ones that are like, we need it by this time and this deadline and this thing, you know, and like, not anything wrong with the people, but it's like that's kind of where the stress comes. But the actual art of it, I've never stopped loving. And don't get me wrong, there's sometimes I'm on a script. Currently, I'm on a deadline, and I've rewritten it like 10 times, and every time I open it up, it's a very emotional piece, and I'm like, oh God. It's like you have to put on like a bulletproof vest, because you know that going in there, it's like gonna take a little bit of, you know, your emotional life. And yeah, it's hard work, but at the end of the day, it's like you work out, the journey of working out, you don't always love going to the gym, but you love how you feel afterwards.
Sure.
And I think a lot of like the creative process for me is like that. And then I also love, there's nothing more than I love than being on a set, and that kind of stress and those kind of people, and like running. I just don't like the people that have to set my deadlines, but the kind of like running around with like my crew and like creating like magic with them, or especially like brand new crews, and getting people to work together that maybe don't get along, or like problem solving on the fly, and like working with actors, like beautiful talent. I was lucky enough to work for 2.5 years with like some of the most talented actors that I know, and that was just so much such a blast, so much fun. And like seeing them come alive with like a little bit of your instructions, or them taking a character you wrote and bringing it to life, like there's nothing, it's magic. And you're asking so many different creative people to work together. But yeah, I think the stressful part has never been in the actual doing of the art, and more in the like when it's like on this deadline and you have to like perform. And I think in those moments, that's where your like discipline comes in. That's where your like ritual comes in, of like, you have to trust yourself, and the way you trust yourself is to know like how you can like get into that space, and the only way to know is to practice. And I think, you know, that whole like 10,000 hours thing is true. So I know like when like, you know, the executives or the client like sets the deadline, and you're like, ooh, I know that I have like skills that I can fall back on to do them. But that's really where the anxiety comes from, when it's like, okay, now I have to like perform, and I have 24 hours to perform and make this happen. But once you're like on the set, or once you're actually going, or you've delivered the project and you're looking back on it, I always feel pretty like excited about it. And I like a little stress or anxiety in the fun way on set, when you're like moving and you're wondering how you're gonna do it. Like I kind of find it a little fun.
Has there ever been anything that you were like, I don't feel ready for this, and then it paid off in the end?
Everything I've ever done. I mean, I think like the secret to like having a career in the arts and having a creative career is like, nobody knows exactly what they're doing. Like that's the big secret, is that every new job is a new challenge, and anyone who doesn't say that that's true is lying to you. I don't care what level you're at. Like every time you take on a new project, a new creative endeavor, it's like creating a new painting, and there's a bit of like staring at a blank canvas that I think scares like anybody. So I think that there is always a point of leaping off where you don't know. And again, like the ritual of like you don't know, but you do. Like you really don't, but you do. You trust yourself that you're gonna land on your feet. And I think that bit of like jumping off is something that I think, for lack of a better word, something I've been hearing thrown around, but to level up in anything, and in any job or any career, and please correct me if I'm wrong, it takes a bit of jumping and free falling and not knowing, and you have to get comfortable with the unknown. And half the jobs when I was like in my early 20s that I was like, sure, I can do that, I'd be like Googling in the bathroom, or like calling a producer before we had like internet phones. Oh my God, I'm old. But like,
no.
But like, you would be, you know, somebody would be like, hey Jessa, we need you need to redo the budget, it needs fringes. And you're like, yeah, totally, I've done this so many times, so let me go figure that out. You know, or just like things, oh man, I remember I needed to ask somebody for a light or something, and I was the producer, and they asked me for something specific, and I had no idea what they were talking about, and I was like looking everywhere for it, and one of the like PAs was like, it's right there, and like right in front of me, and I was like, yeah, no, I know. You know, it's like, but there's a bit of that, and I think we all like to jump on the newbie, especially in the film industry. They're like, oh, that kid, he didn't use the right lingo, because we're so much more experienced. And I think that there's a bit of that, because the truth is, like, everybody's unsure when they first start out, and everybody's unsure to some degree on each new job. You're like, okay, I got to figure out. And then once it goes and you're in the process, you're like, oh, I got this. But
well, in life, like, nobody knows what they're doing. That's the reality, you know?
no, that's the truest statement of all, is like, you know, we're all kind of figuring it out as we go.
Yeah.
And I think some people are better at improv than other people, and are better at faking it than other people. But I mean, it really comes down to, like, why I love finding what brings you joy. Like,
Yeah.
I love coffee cups. I don't need to really analyze it.
Yeah.
Why does that bring me joy? And, like, creating those moments where you find authentic joy in your life and multiplying them out through your life as much as you can. And that's really what, like, I try to do and have tried to do, is, like, I love writing, so I write every day. I love drinking coffee. I start my day with a cup of coffee. I love, like, I love dancing in my underwear. I dance every single day. And finding those things that you can authentically find joy in your life. And I think that's when you find that, I think the anxiety and things like that come from, obviously, a feeling of not feeling loved or not feeling enough. And I think finding that your simple joys that are authentic to you and following, like, your unique joy and calling in your life, like, that's what I think ultimately brings, like, you joy.
Tell me about this couch.
Okay, so this couch is actually not the couch I'm going to talk about. It's the
What?
So this couch was a replacement for a couch that I will talk about. I do have a lot of memories on this couch in particular, but right now we're in my family home. So I moved in with my grandparents when I was, I think, 12 or 13. And then I moved out when I was like 17 or 18 and lived on my own for a little while. And then I moved back in with my grandparents after a very fun roommate experience. And so I've spent a lot of time living here. And so this couch...
She doesn't live here right now, but...
No, I don't live here right now.
We are here right now.
But my couch at my house, I don't really have a great story about, so I thought this was a better location. This couch was where my entire family, my grandmother, my grandpa, like, everybody, we'd all have our places. My two cousins on this couch.
I had a 17th surprise birthday party here.
Yep.
That I almost canceled, by the way, on accident. Continue, sorry. Please
yeah,
tell the
all
story.
this, like, this couch. So we, like, everything has happened, all my friends growing up, like, it's all been on this couch. And so the memories I have in this room of, like, family time, coffee time every morning, my two parents hanging out on this couch, like, boyfriends coming over. Sorry, Mom. Like, but this has been, I feel like I've grown up here, and this couch to me has every memory. And honestly, like, surrounding the TV, which you can't see, and we'd watch movies, and my grandfather used to have a huge chair here, and I have so many memories of, like, sitting next to him, and he used to wear these, like, giant, like, headphones over his ears because he was very much deaf, and so he would wear these, like, huge headphones to make the volume super loud so he could hear it, and he'd, like, sit over there on this couch. And yeah, so I have so many memories here, and it's just really a special place to me. And family is, like, the most special thing to me. Oh yeah, family, that also brings you a lot of joy.
Where are you most comfortable?
Most comfortable? You know, I think that changes. But lately, I think it's in my skin, which has, like, been a long time coming. Wow. Of, like, I think I used to equate home with a place or a person in my family, which I still do. Like, definitely home is a feeling, and it's definitely with my family. But I've really been working on feeling safe in my body and in my skin, and feeling at home in myself. And I think, you know, life throws a lot of, like, a lot of things at you, and I think I've definitely had a lot of those experiences in the last couple years that... So
we had a little technical difficulty. We're back here. says a lot. Producer here on the show, and we're having technical difficulties. It's great. So Brenner just asked me where I feel most comfortable, and I was
beautiful
saying,
answer. It's in her skin.
yeah, I think after, like what I was saying was life puts you through a lot of trials and tribulations, and I think one of my goals was to feel good again in my skin, was to feel safe again within my skin, was to feel loved within my skin, and I've done a lot of work over the last 5 years or so to really make that true, and have been tested in all kinds of ways by life. And I'm really happy to say that I finally feel like that really is true.
Yeah. I think that's wonderful. I think that, I mean, I always say the couch, and that's what most people have said, and I anticipated you saying something similar, and I think that was an incredible answer. Okay, and then lastly, I always try and get somebody to say like a really funny story about something that made them laugh, or something that, if they can think of something, like a story of the two of us. And you and I have known each other for a really long time. I'm wondering if you have one in your back pocket. My dad was the last person I interviewed, and he was like, whenever someone tries to tell a funny story, it always comes off not funny, and not actually is kind of true.
I just have to know who our audience is. Like, what rated story do we want?
Do we have any? Not. I don't. I mean, I think
we've known each other a long time, so there's quite a few stories that I can pull from.
I would say like family friendly. I always think about the time when like you and I went bike riding in Venice or Santa Monica, and we like went down that bike path. We were like definitely in the highway.
I just kept being like, we're fine. We're on the right path. By the way, like, key to making in the industry, even when you're wrong, you're right, and you just double down on confidence.
We were not fine. And I was like, this is how we go.
We basically went off-roading onto a bridge and then down a spiral case. Clearly a walkway only situation.
No, not a walkway, a highway. We were like in traffic. We're fine. I was like, we're not fine.
Yeah.
And I was like 2 hours late for work. It was like the only time I've ever been late, I think. No, that's not true. But oh my God. And I was just like drenched in sweat. And I was like, oh my God. It was one of the most fun times I've ever had with you. It was so fun.
Well, I have a good high school story of us too, where we were in this like caravan from high school, and we were in the valley because we both are actually valley girls, like grew up in the valley, and like valley girls. And so we're all following each other, and God knows where we're going, but we're all in this like line of cars, and I'm the youngest out of my friends, so I was the last to get my license, so I wasn't driving, so I always had to drive with somebody. But everybody else was in that phase where they'd just gotten their license or just got their permit, so everybody wanted to have their own car. So we literally had like a line of 8 people who were probably 16.
First in Maya.
Yeah. Maya was first, which won't be sort of great for her telling us that in the story. And so we have this like line of caravan, and like 8 people, like 8 teenagers, all following each other. I think it's like a Saturday night from like one place to the next. So I think I'm in the car with Eliza, and so we're driving, and we see the car in front of us, like, slowly makes this, like, round turn. There's something in the road, and goes, like, around the thing in the road. I'm like, I don't know, maybe it's, like, a fox or something, and so we, like, calmly go around. And we're looking back at Maya, and she's just going straight for the wooden box, like, not turning at all. And we just see this like freaking like flips the wheel, like screeches around this, like, and it would have been fine if she was the only person, but there was definitely like a row of cars, like 5 people in front of her, that had all slowly made the move around and continued on the path, and Maya just goes full for it, and then it's like out of a.
I'm a really good driver. I really am.
Oh man. We won't get into any
Aw.
of my driving stories, but I have some good
Yeah,
ones
I'm a
too.
really good driver compared to you, actually.
Excuse me, I'm a great driver.
Oh, well, this was so fun. Thank you so much,
Very
Jessa.
fun.
Minus our few technical difficulties.
It's fine. We still look pretty and we're lit.
Literally.
Literally.
Love you.
Love you.
Thank you. Bye.
Make sure to subscribe, guys. Hit that
Subscribe.
subscribe button. Ring the notification bell, please. And give this video a like for my friend here, Maya Brenner, who's going to start asking you guys